InvestorIdeas.com podcast.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of InvestorIdeas.com podcast, looking at cannabis news, stocks to watch, as well as insights from thought leaders and experts. In today's podcast, we're going to be looking at a few private and public company announcements, looking at Shoppers Drug Mart Incorporated, AVCN Incorporated trading on the TSX as AVCN and the OTCQX as AVCNF, 1933 Industries Incorporated trading on the CSE as TGIF and the OTCQX as TGIFF, as well as Province Brands of Canada. So first, starting with Shoppers Drug Mart, who announced the opening of its first managed medical clinic in Toronto. Owned and operated by Shoppers Drug Mart, the Health Clinic by Shoppers is a primary care and family practice clinic providing patients with convenient one-stop access to medical services and trusted advice. Now located at Lawrence Avenue, this new clinic is the first of three expected to open over the next year in the Greater Toronto Area, hosting a suite of family medicine services. The clinic aims to make healthcare more accessible for patients with extended operating hours and increased technology, such as online appointment booking and virtual care options through Medio solutions and electronic health records via the Accuro EMR platform. We know Canadians want and need more for their primary care. The world changed quickly and dramatically this year, highlighting the need for more accessible healthcare options for the patients, whether that means extended hours and more convenient locations for in-person services or virtual care services for all patients, including those who don't currently have access to a family physician, says Jeff Legger, the president and CEO of Shoppers Drug Mart. Now, the health clinic of Shoppers combines conveniences and technology in a way that's increasingly relevant to Canadians looking for health and wellness support. Now, as Shoppers Drug Mart expands its range of healthcare services, the company assembled a team of individuals with extensive experience in health clinic operations and management and established a physician advisory board to support the design and implementation of the new health clinic model. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a substantial impact on both the way Canadians access healthcare and how their physicians deliver primary care for their patients, says Dr. Barry McLaren, the Health Clinic by Shoppers Physician Advisory Board. Now, through an enhanced experience of consistent quality of care, convenient hours, technology-enabled and virtual care services, all delivered in a modern clinic space, the Health Clinic by Shoppers is uniquely positioned to provide high-quality, patient-centered healthcare to Canadians. So Shoppers Drug Mart creating their own little small health clinics in the Toronto area. I will assume they'll be expanding that into other major metropolitan cities in Canada. The big real element of that is that this is a big issue when it comes to the medical cannabis market in Canada is lack of access for a lot of these patients. It is difficult. They also have to then wait in line in a standard busy Shoppers Drug Mart. And there isn't always one available or in their area. And there also isn't all of the pharmaceutical staff trained up on all of these more in-depth sort of patient analysis problems that they'll have to deal with. So I do think that this is going to probably benefit their cannabis implementation as well as all the other products they sell and as well as general medical help. And I do think that this establishes the sort of build model eventually for how this is going to look as a medical market in Canada, where you are going to have several of these little micro clinics popping up all over the country that give patients access not only to their medical cannabis, but also to just general healthcare and advice, which obviously does seem much needed in the COVID-19 world. So I think good step for general patient healthcare as well as for the medical cannabis market and cannabis, or with this new implementation, and hopefully it does expand into other provinces and cities as well. Next, looking at AVCN, who announced its advanced Rio Phyto microdrop oils are now officially available nationwide in Canada on the Medical Cannabis by Shoppers platforms, as well as through Medical Cannabis Real-World Evidence Study at the University Health Network, as announced on July 15th. Now, I've talked a lot about AVCN before. Following years of research and development in collaboration with world-class academic and clinical organizations, AVCN is proud to be launching the RHO Phyto, a fully formulatory and advanced medical cannabis products for patients in the medical community in Canada. Now, following the microdrop oils, AVCN expects to launch 2 advanced sublingual spray formulations in the upcoming weeks, and the RHO Phyto product line includes oil drops, sublingual sprays, capsules, and topicals with varying ratios of CBD and THC. The RHO Phyto products are designed to address a range of medical conditions that may require various rates of relief. For example, the Rapid Act sublingual sprays provide a faster onset of effects than the simple dose or the microdrop oils. And to ensure batch-to-batch consistency and high-quality products, these formulations are manufactured under good manufacturing practices in partnership with MediPharm Labs at a GMP-level analytical testing as performed by Sigma Analytical Services. Now, Ares Azadian, the CEO of AVCN, commented, "We believe that the RHO Phyto formulary is designed to address numerous gaps in the current medical cannabis framework with respect to patient needs and provide an opportunity to attract new prescribers and patients to medical cannabis solutions. Now, the introduction of a strictly medical line of products backed by extensive research, preclinical data, GMP manufacturing, and offered by shoppers has the opportunity to set a new standard of care and establish RHO Phyto as the leading medical product line in the medical cannabis market." So you can find more information on their website at rhophyto.com as well as at avicana.com/the Avicana Academy to find out more about their educational platform that they've recently launched as well. And as part of Avicana's commercialization strategy, the company will be providing education and training for HCPs, patients, and medical institutions about medical cannabis and the RHO Phyto product line. Again, that will be through the Avicana Academy, as well as through a series of virtual hosted conferences with shoppers. So I've talked about RHO and Avicana before, and the launch of these products. Again, this style of product really hasn't gained a lot of traction, but it is starting to pick up more momentum in the medical community as more and more patients are being onboarded and are more skeptical about the traditional formats of cannabis. So I do think that it does appeal to a certain demographic, especially for the medical market. But a big problem there is going to be the education, which obviously Avicana is working on. And most of the companies that are in these types of sublingual product developments are also focusing on the education side. I do think that, again, as Shoppers has more accessibility and continues to build out its product line and gain more trust within the Canadian community, you're going to start to see more of those products really vary out. And you also might start to see which particular products have better medical efficacy and also gain better traction within the medical community. I think so far, again, what you're seeing in the medical world is very consistent with what you're seeing even in the recreational world. There's not a big differentiation as far as which products are selling and which formats are preferred. But I do think that as time progresses and you get more of the, as I said, more skeptical of the cannabis industry patients starting to onboard, you're going to start to see those product line change, hopefully towards more of these next generation products like the RHO Phyto products. Next, looking at 1933 Industries, who announced the introduction of a new line of extra strength products to its extensive wellness portfolio, the CannaHemp Plus line, which was developed for consumers who want to experience the added benefits of increased CBD at competitive prices for a reliable and trusted brand. Now, as the health and wellness market continues to research the power of cannabis plants, and the cannabis company's CannaHemp brand is applying its expertise in utilizing CBD in a variety of formulas in order to meet the lifestyles and needs of the growing consumer base. With double the amount of CBD, the Plus line was designed to offer competitively priced products with some of the highest amounts of CBD found today in the marketplace. Our exciting suite of wellness products continues to grow in a number of segments and price points. Over the last 3 years, we've earned the trust of our consumers by offering products that are effective, reliable, and contain the highest quality CBD sourced in the USA, stated Mr. Eugene Ruiz, the president of 1933 Industries. Our best-selling topical relief cream and all elixirs will launch the Plus line today, with more products to follow over the coming months. Now, all CannaHemp products are specifically formulated with the company's proprietary TerpFX trademark blend of real cannabis-derived terpenes and organic botanical oils. And terpenes mimic the profiles of cannabis strains without any THC. And in addition, the Plus line, the company recently launched a line of products made with organic hemp seed oil available via online marketplaces such as Amazon and Walmart. So, 1933 Industries focusing on a higher dose CBD product for a more affordable price. This is actually a smart play and something that the CBD market is going to have to adjust to anyways, as this has been something that's been discussed early on with the CBD industry sort of launching haphazardly in the US, which was dosage information. For a lot of, especially more for the medical community or for actual health issues, CBD, for it actually to be effective, has to be in a pretty concentrated dose. A lot of the low doses of 10 milligram and under don't really have a huge efficacy without the entourage effect or the combination of the other cannabinoids there. And so this has been something that's been discussed within the CBD market, is allowing for higher concentration forms, for allowing for the price drop, because that is another big thing when people are looking at considering transitioning out of opiates or maybe a more heavy medication and into CBD, the price difference is a huge issue that the CBD market faces, and it's a big reason why not everyone has just adopted this, is that it still is at a pretty premium price point considering other medications available. And I do think that this transition or focus towards higher volume and lower cost and containing that same consistency and quality is going to be something the CBD market needs to move towards if it wants to really be competitive with other pharmaceutical components that are out in the market today. So it is smart that you're seeing 1933 Industries focus on this. I'm sure other companies will start focusing on this as well. And I'm sure that, again, it's going to take some time for this CBD and health industry of the cannabis segment to really normalize out and you to get consistent products. But more and more, especially as this COVID-19 crisis has happened, you're seeing higher demand for CBD products. You're seeing a focus on this for overall immune system boosting, anti-inflammation, lots of very easy benefits, especially when dealing with symptoms of COVID-19. So I do think that this is going to continue to be, and I've said before, a very aggressive year for CBD as it was last year, but even more so probably. And hopefully you start to see again this transition into CBD actually being at the right price and dosage format to actually start competing with regular pharmaceuticals in some sense. And lastly, looking at the directors from Province Brands of Canada, who we've had a few interviews with the past, which I'd highly recommend listening to, where we talked to Duma Wenshu, the old co-founder, or so the old CEO. So the board of directors of Province Brands today has developed the first of its kind patent pending process expected to reduce environmental impact and create beverages on ancillary products that are less harmful for human health. So they've made beer derived from hemp biomass. And they recently announced that Jennifer Diane Thomas, Esquire, has been appointed to the company's new chief executive officer effective immediately. And previously, Mrs. Thomas was the Province Brands chief legal officer, and she is the co-founder of Province Brands and will remain a member of its board of directors. Now, Ms. Thomas replaces Duma Wenshu, the co-founder and CEO, since the company was formed in 2016. And Mr. Wenshu informed the board in December of his intent to transition from executive leadership, and planning has been underway since. Now, Mr. Wenshu remains a full-time employee of Province Brands, dedicated to the company's success as a co-founder. Duma has taken Province Brands from an idea that was met with widespread early resistance to the verge of market-ready launch with facilities under construction, valuable IP, a broad vision, emerging product offerings, and he'll remain an important part of Province Brands' future, said Ms. Thomas. I'm excited about the role ahead and thank Duma and the board for its confidence and full support. Now, Ms. Thomas added, I'm excited to take over as the CEO of Province Brands to create and deliver new solutions and revenue streams that allow the business to grow in these challenging times. In addition to innovative thinking, the current environment in the industry and the world at large presents a confluence of constraints that require risk mitigation and sound legal, financial, and compliance. Experience that I have accumulated over my 12 years of practicing at Schweet Roth and Zabel LLP, Jones Day, and with other cannabis companies. And these experiences have prepared me to lead Province Brands to a bright future. Now, since co-founding Province Brands 4 years ago, Ms. Thomas has spearheaded multiple vital strategic initiatives and partnerships, played a major role in managing the business, overseen all aspects of the company's legal and licensing strategies, and managed the company's legal and financial department. Now, under Jennifer's leadership, Province Brands is poised to transform the brewing industry, said Mr. Wenshu. There is no one better suited for the job, more highly regarded by the team, and more capable to lead this company. And I've been honored to have Jennifer as a partner for the past 4 years, and I'm thrilled to watch her succeed at every task she's undertaken. Her bold vision for the company is exciting, and I'm thrilled to help her succeed. If you haven't heard of Province Brand before, or paid attention to any of the previous podcasts we've had where we've discussed them, as far as I'm concerned, I think they're definitely a game changer within the beverage space for Canada and for the world so far. They're one of the few companies focusing on brewing beer specifically from hemp biomass. They've managed their own proprietary technology and IP to extract sugar from the hemp plant and actually brew a non-alcoholic cannabis-infused beer right from that source. Obviously, the difficulties for them is going to be under some of the restrictions right now when it comes to bottling, and it also when it comes to separation from alcohol and cannabis products. For instance, having a brewed beer is something you can't exactly market within the Canadian market for beverages right now. So I do think that'll be their only difficulty, is eventually the regulations will need to change, or they'll need to work on their product marketing a little bit. But from a investor standpoint and from an outsider looking at this company, it's very reassuring to see them focus on repositioning their sort of business stance. Now having Jennifer Diane Thomas set up as the new CEO, I think is going to be a smart play for this company, as much as Duma Winshew was the boss when it came to being involved with this company, much more involved on the technology and research side, much less focused on dealing with the CEO marketing and business side. So I do think that that's going to be a beautiful sort of transition for this company, and obviously shows that this company is now ready to move to the next sort of position from being a company that's just looking for funding, looking for sort of financial support, to now a company that's ready to hopefully launch their products and get into the next phase of actual revenue development. If you haven't paid attention to the story, I highly recommend looking into it. I think they're one of the more interesting stories within the beverage sector so far, as they do really differentiate themselves from a lot of the products that are out there so far. Most everything else is just infusing product with some sort of oil or distillate. Their product is, again, creating it from scratch. So I do think that that's going to be a big difference. The other big difference is that they're able to use excess biomass from cannabis producers, which is still a huge waste product that isn't really being dealt with, whether you're in Canada or the US or internationally. And again, there is very low cost for your overall expenditures then to create this product. So definitely a story to pay attention to. I think this year could be their launch in some ways, which would be very exciting. And hopefully we start to see more beverages like them come to the market. But again, still seems like it's a little ways away. That's all for today's podcast. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. That's all for today's podcast. Podcast is now a certified word trademark on the blockchain through Cognate Incorporated CM certification. InvestorIdeas.com podcasts are also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and TuneIn. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor of this podcast, please contact InvestorIdeas.com. Investor Ideas reminds all listeners to read our disclaimers and disclosures on the InvestorIdeas.com website, and this podcast is not an endorsement to buy products or services or securities. Investors are reminded that all investments involve risk and possible loss of investment. Investor Ideas does not condone the use of cannabis except where permissible by law. Our site does not possess, distribute, or sell cannabis products.